Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Monday, July 22nd, 2024. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy Monday, everyone. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. Right now, you'll see a little bit of a bounce back after the 3-day decline. We had a sharp sell-off Wednesday through Friday of last week. One of the larger pullbacks and sell-offs that we've seen in the ES in a good long while. If you look at the chart here, you can see on a 3-day pullback basis here, this is one of the larger 3-day pullbacks we've seen perhaps since back here. We had a huge 1-day pullback before it rallied here. This was kind of a 5 or 6-day pullback here, but this was as big or bigger in just 3 days. So this is one of the bigger pullbacks we've seen. But here, heading into Monday's open, you can see that we are currently seeing price trade above the previous session's midpoint. So trading above the previous session's midpoint right there, that could provide some bullish MGR opportunities here right at the RTH open. This could present a bounce back opportunity early this week here, whereby price makes a move back toward the previous week's midpoint. Previous week's midpoint, 56.31.63 is that level. That'll be somewhere about right here. So we could be looking at a bounce back toward that area early this week. Now, if this is going to be a continuation to the downside, then this type of strength right here could be an opportunity for bears to defend. If bears defend into this strength here and are able to push this thing back down, we could have ourselves another round of weakness ahead. But the way it's looking at the moment, fairly bullish here. The previous week's close holding, and we could be looking at a bounce back toward 56.31 up ahead. If we take a look here at the NQ, very similar price action at the moment. Similar price action with a little bit of strength here heading into the RTH open above the Friday midpoint, which is very important. And you can see how much selling pressure we've seen here since that Thursday strong high a couple of weeks back. That's one of the bigger pullbacks we've seen in a while. Again, since the early April pullback here, that April pullback was pretty significant, but the result after that was a huge return back to the origination point of the sell-off and then a massive breakout and continuation. So this pullback could provide a buying opportunity on the longer term here. We have still yet to see a fill of the gap, or maybe it finally filled the gap Friday. Let's see here. There's the gap right there. And if we bring a line over, it looked like it may have just filled that gap. We have not seen a fill of the FOMC key level below. We have a tremendous CLVN down below as well that could provide support. So any pullback here could still be a buying opportunity for another rotation back up. And again, like the ES, to be above the Friday midpoint provides bullish MGR opportunities heading into the RTH open, and this could lead to some early strength this week that bounces this thing back toward the previous week's midpoint. That level is going to be 20,225. 20,225 could be the level above if that bounce back indeed takes place. Looking at crude oil now, crude oil down 0.9%. We saw a late Friday break of the $80 level. This is something we mentioned in the pre-market video Friday morning, that we had this rounded behavior here. We had a heavy MGR gap down. MGR stands for midpoint gap reversal, where you have a big close here, and the very next day you gap down through the midpoint. Obviously, this was on in part due to a contract rollover here, but nonetheless still led to a heavy reversal from those previous highs. And mentioned before that if we break through 80, it could open up the next push into 76 down below, and maybe even as low as 72s below that. But 76 is the next major level. So a huge breach at 80 and a continuation down toward 76 could be ahead for crude oil. Now, looking at gold futures here, gold has made quite the snapback from new highs this thing rallying into the 2480 level and then getting a huge snapback. We mentioned Friday that any pullback here could be a selling opportunity back toward the middle of that range. We could be looking at a move back toward 2340 to 2350 up ahead. We have ourselves a large trading range that continues to play out here, and this snapback could continue to lead to a return back to the middle of that range. Now the YM saw its first selling pressure in a good long while. We had ourselves a solid compression here. We mentioned this compression could lead to a major breakout and expansive move. We got that target to the upside, and then on Thursday a strong failed new high, outside reversal down. This thing has led lower the last couple of days, and we're now sitting right on the 40,500 level right there, the top of the previous range here. This could provide, again, this could provide a little bit of a bounce opportunity up ahead. You can see right now that this market is not seeing any type of continuation to the upside like the NQ or the ES, so a very disconnected market yet again. Very narrow range heading into the RTH Open, just 24% of average range over the last 10 days. So very, very quiet price action, not much happening here in the YM just yet. Now again, maybe there's an opportunity here to find some sort of support in this area, which was prior resistance, and maybe there's a little bit of a bounce back that can happen here. If we do bounce back a little bit, the midpoint up above for the week will be 41,005. So 41,005 will be that upside target, which is basically right about there. Can we snap back to that level early this week? Now looking at Bitcoin here, Bitcoin up about 0.5% at the moment, taking a little bit of a gap up and then filling that gap. We're seeing a strong recovery from the recent lows. We mentioned on this day right here in that pre-market video that we could see Bitcoin and ETH rally from these lows, and we've seen a tremendous 10,000 point plus rally. We got a quick move from 54 to 64, and we've now seen this thing here hit 68.6 this morning. The idea was that we likely go across the range towards 74K and maybe even put in a modest new high. So that could be ahead for this one. Any pullback could be a buying opportunity for Bitcoin here moving forward, as this thing looks to work its way back toward the top of the large range, which has developed over the last 4 to 5 months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months this thing has been in development, and we're looking for a continuation higher, especially if price can continue to hold above the 66K midpoint. Lastly, looking at ETH. ETH spot ETFs. It is rumored here that we likely see new spot ETFs begin trading on Tuesday, July 22nd. That could be huge for inflows up ahead. Again, when price was right there on that second day, we mentioned that we could see Bitcoin and ETH rally. We've seen this thing bounce off the 28K level and now trading 35. This thing hit a high of 35.70 here in overnight trading, and we could be looking at a continuation toward 4,000 up ahead. This market remains range bound like the ES, but with inflows and new ETH approval, do we see a massive continuation to the upside. Now, the last time that the spot ETFs began trading for Bitcoin, we did see that was the first day of trading right there for spot ETFs for Bitcoin and ETH here. We saw a little bit of selling in the futures. Once that selling was over, the spot ETFs were bought, or the spot coins were bought, and we saw this thing rally tremendously. So do we see a similar effect this time around and a continuation up? We'll see how that plays out here Tuesday. But very bullish overall, with a shot to see 4,000. And with inflows up ahead, this is what the inflows looked like last time. Do we see something similar? Do we start to make a move for 5,000 and perhaps even beyond? That'll be huge. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this develops here heading into the new week of trading. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.